GAC rematch with JediSaber7. At the time of this recording, I do not know the outcome of this matchup because it is, again, at the time of this recording, ongoing. Figured I would get this GAC voiceover done right away, since I have a tendency to fall behind on my GAC recordings. And then Mando's coming out tomorrow, so I'm going to be a little bit busy, and I'm going to be watching the markets, see what they do. They've been exuberant, to say the least. If you've been following either myself or CNBC or any number of different financial news outlets, you've probably been hearing something about V-shaped recovery, U-shaped recovery, L-shaped recovery, or even the new Nike swoosh recovery. Obviously, the recovery, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? So, economy takes a nosedive and then pops right back up. V, U obviously has a little bit longer of a lull. L means everything drops out and then kind of flatlines. There's actually also a W, where it's sharp drop, you make a little bit of a comeback, and then you drop right back to the lows, and then you make it back up. Or the swoosh, which is, I mean, there's no letter that would really work for that, so it's a swoosh, so it's kind of like a recovery, but it's long and gradual. Right now, it does not appear to be an L, so that's good, because L means a very, very, very long time of depressed markets and economy. It does not look like a U, because we've already broken the U, the bottom of the U. It could, however, be a W. That is entirely possible. Certain sectors look, in terms of the markets anyway, look like they're making a V-shaped recovery. I do not think the actual economy will make a V-shaped recovery. Small businesses are going to be hurting for quite some time. So the economy itself is not going to have a V-shaped recovery, in my opinion. Certain sectors in the stock market may have a V-shaped recovery. If you look at Microsoft, for instance, Microsoft is not far off of where it was pre-COVID. They announced their earnings today, and they even said that coronavirus had very limited effect on their revenues. That's from Microsoft. Microsoft is one of the best run companies in the world. It is a more than $1 trillion company, and it is, again, almost back to where it was right before coronavirus. So certain sectors like tech, certainly anything in cloud, obviously if you follow or own stock in Amazon has had a tremendous run up. I think it pulled back a little bit today on a downgrade. But so anything that is in cloud, with all this remote learning and remote working that everyone's been doing, those companies are going to do certainly very well in the short term. Certain sectors are going to have what is more likely a Nike swoosh recovery, a very long and slow, gradual recovery. I think oil stocks are going to be in that long recovery. Certainly industrials are going to be in that long recovery. Until and unless Congress can pass a massive infrastructure bill that both sides of the aisle have expressed interest in trying to do, which would be great. Anecdotally, to get Germany out of the post-World War One Great Depression, a well, you argue an arguable person. I don't know if I'd consider him a person quite really, exactly, but Adolf Hitler actually created and passed a massive infrastructure bill in the 1930s. I think it was early 30s, maybe early mid 30s, overhauling Germany's infrastructure, roads, bridges, railroads. They actually built the famous German highway, the Autobahn. And what it did was it gave everyone a sense of national pride, and it soaked up the unemployed from the Great Depression. If you're any bit of a history buff like I am, the seeds for the Second World War were sowed in the immediate aftermath of World War I, when the precursor to the United Nations, which was known as the League of Nations, imposed massive economic sanctions on Germany and forced Germany to pay reparations to the other European countries for having involved them in the First World War. Funnily enough, or maybe not so funny, Germany did not start World War I. Germany did not start World War I. But whatever reason, they were blamed for the bulk of World War I. Now, World War II, yeah, sure, you could blame the bulk of World War II on Germany, or at least Third Reich Germany. Anyway, sorry, that was a very long tangential anecdote. But a massive infrastructure bill, despite my parallel to Nazi Germany, would be excellent for this country for some of the same reasons. It would soak up a lot of unemployment. It would get industry going again. I mean, manufacturers, heavy machinery companies, steel, aggregates, like, rock, people that run rock quarries make aggregates, like the stone and all that shit. And we use oil aggregates for the tar and paving roads. I mean, overhauling the roads, bridges, tunnels, train tracks in the United States. First of all, we need it desperately because our infrastructure sucks. It's some of the oldest infrastructure in the world. And so we need it to be updated and overhauled, and we need to soak up the 20 some odd million people that are currently out of work. Now, obviously, not all those 20 million people come from the industrial sector or construction or heavy machinery operators, but it'll certainly soak up a lot of the unemployed, at least in the short or even medium term, until the rest of the economy, which is largely consumer and service sector, gets back on track. Because a tremendous portion of our otherwise normal gross domestic product is based off of consumerism. I mean, it's the United States. We love our shit. We're super materialistic. We love clothes. We love toys. We love tchotchkes. We love cars. We love everything. It's a consumer economy, and the consumer has been sidelined for the better part of the last 2 months. So all of those businesses are shitting bricks right now because they don't have any revenue. So some of those businesses, a lot of them, unfortunately, are going to go bankrupt or at least consolidate. So it would be nice to have an infrastructure bill in the short or medium term to, again, soak up the unemployed, get the ball rolling, get people back to work, a paycheck from, maybe an industry or a job that you never pictured yourself working is better than no paycheck at all, for sure. I mean, I would, God forbid I got fired, I would sooner work at McDonald's and not work. I mean, shit, I get free food. So if we get the infrastructure bill, then you'll see industrials and raw material companies doing a little bit better. I bought some stock in Caterpillar on the hope and a prayer that we will get some sort of an infrastructure bill passed, because it's one of the few times that Congress seemed to be at least close to the same page. I'm no fan of Nancy Pelosi, but Nancy Pelosi has also said she wants an infrastructure bill. The president obviously has said he wants an infrastructure bill. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin, whom I've become a fairly big fan of, wants an infrastructure bill. So all sides want the infrastructure bill. So hopefully that will happen. U.S. Steel. How are we going to let you... And one of the guys in my guild in Maw actually works for U.S. Steel. So how are we going to let U.S. Steel go the way of the dodo? We cannot do that. Alcoa, shitty stock, don't buy it. But it's one of the biggest aluminum, or if you're British, aluminium manufacturers in the world. American company. Can't let them go belly up. I'm not saying bail them out, but give them, in the form of an infrastructure bill, give them the opportunity to put people to work and make some money. So if you're looking to invest in the stock market long term and you got the patience for it, look at healthy industrials or raw material companies with healthy balance sheets. Make sure their cash flows and stores are good. Companies that have reported earnings and haven't cut their dividends, those are always good. Because dividends usually imply that a company has good cash health, or cash flow health at least. If you are looking at a company and you see that they've cut or suspended their dividends, just stay away from it for a little bit, because that means they don't have the cash on hand to pay or sustain the dividend. Short term, it may not, become a realized issue, but it's certainly a red flag. So if you have the stomach for it, I think that the stock market could be a good way to... You're not going to make $1 million. All right. Anyone that goes into the stock market trying to chase the next big thing, that's how you end up fucking broke. So don't do that, especially if you're new to investing. Once you get a little bit of savvy, then you can start to branch out and do some spec stuff. But right now is actually probably the best time, maybe not right this moment, but certainly in the aftermath of Corona will be the best opportunity to invest in the stock market that we've had in several years. Corporate profits were looking fairly good before Corona. Obviously, certain sectors are going to have weakness. Certain individual companies are going to have weakness. Certain sectors are by nature cyclical. So you'll see, weakness in certain parts of the year or in a certain set of circumstances. But generally speaking, you're not going to get stocks this cheap for a good while. If you're new to investing, go with dividends. The companies are generally safer. You also get paid to sit on your hands and just own the stock. And then if you do that, make sure you automatically reinvest your dividends so you get compounded interest. And that is all for stock advice for today. Give you more next time. Thanks for watching.